Leo was not supposed to be in the alien lab that night. He was just a technician, and his job was to check power lines and fix broken panels on the human side of the station. But one of the alien labs had reported a problem with its energy connection, and Leo was the only one nearby, so he walked in with his toolbox, expecting to tighten a few wires and leave. The lab was quiet, almost too quiet. Bright green lights ran along the walls. In the center of the room stood a strange machine that looked like a big flower made of silver and crystal. Leo had never seen anything like it before. Alien technology was always strange to him. He stepped carefully around it and opened a wall panel. Sparks jumped out. "Oh, great," he muttered. He began working, his hands moving fast. But as he reached for a wire, his elbow bumped into something behind him. Click. The sound was soft, but he felt it in his chest. He turned quickly. The silver flower machine had come to life. Lights blinked across its surface. The crystal tips began to spin slowly. "Oh no, ... What did I press?" "Oh," Leo said to himself. Before he could move, the door opened. It was Neron. Alien girl from the plant-like species called the Threvians. She was quiet, graceful, and always kind. She worked in the science team and often took care of the plants on the station. Her soft green skin glowed gently, and long leaf-like hair hung over her shoulders. She was holding a small basket of fruits, probably samples for research. When she saw Leo standing near the machine, her eyes widened. "Did you touch it?" she asked in a soft voice. Maybe. I bumped into something." It turned on Leo said, backing away. Before Nira could say more, the machine gave a loud hum. A soft wave of golden light spread from its center like a ripple in water. The light passed over both of them, but Nira got the full blast. She gasped and dropped her basket. The fruits rolled across the floor. Then everything stopped. The machine shut down. Silence. Leo blinked. "Are you okay?" Nira stood still. Cheeks turned a light pink color, glowing brighter than usual. She wrapped her arms tightly around her chest and turned away. I need to go," she said quickly, and ran out of the room, leaving her basket behind. Leo stood there, confused. The next morning, Leo walked into the main hallway of the station. Everyone seemed normal. He carried his tools and tried not to think too much about the strange machine. But when he entered the plant lab to fix a broken water pipe, he saw her again. Nira was there, watering the tall vine plants, but something about her seemed different. She wore a loose cloak over her normal outfit and kept looking down. The other alien workers whispered as she walked past them. Some giggled quietly. Leo walked over slowly. "Hey, Nira, about last night. Are you sure you're okay?" he asked. She looked up at him. Her face turned even pinker. "I am fine," she said quickly, eyes wide. "Really? You don't need to worry. You ran off so fast." "I thought the machine hurt you." "It didn't hurt me," she said, then lowered her voice. But something changed. Leo tilted his head. "Changed how?" Nira turned away, clearly embarrassed. "It's hard to explain. It's personal. Let's not talk about it." Leo didn't want to make her uncomfortable. "Okay, I just wanted to check. I'm sorry I messed with that thing." She nodded slowly, but didn't meet his eyes. As Leo left the lab, he passed two young Thravian workers. They looked at him, then whispered to each other and laughed. "Poor girl," one of them said. "It's obvious what happened. He activated the booster," the other replied. Leo stopped. "Booster." "Ah!" "Booster?" He returned to his station room and opened his notes. He searched the database for the machine he saw. He found it Threvian biostimulator type. 6. A device used to enhance growth in Threvian fruits and organics. He read further. Caution. Do not use on unprepared subjects. It may cause extreme growth in outer body fruit organs. Highly sensitive effect. Often considered very private and personal in Threvian culture. Leo stared at the screen. "Oh no," he whispered. He understood now. Threvian girls had fruit-like organs on their upper chest and he had accidentally made. No, that's why she ran away. That's why she kept blushing. That's why everyone was whispering. He covered his face with His hands? I made her coconuts grow. Leo didn't sleep well that night. Kept thinking about Nira's face when she ran out, her soft voice, her glowing cheeks. He didn't mean to embarrass her. It was all a mistake. The next day, he decided to go to the alien science wing again. He found Nira sitting alone near the garden dome, under the glowing trees. Her cloak was wrapped tightly around her again. She looked up as he approached. "Nira," he said gently, "I know what I did. I read the data on that machine. I'm really sorry." She looked down, but didn't run away this time. "It was an accident," she said softly. "I know that. Still, I feel strange."
"I want to fix
it," he said, "or help in any way I can." She looked at him, her eyes a little softer now. "You really want to help?" Leo nodded. "Of course, I didn't mean to change anything. Just want to make things right." Nira hesitated, and she gave a small smile. "Okay, then maybe we can look at the machine again, together." Leo smiled back. "I'd like that." As they sat there, in the glowing garden, the air felt a little lighter. The awkward accident had started something unexpected, a quiet friendship. Neither of them knew where it would lead, but for now, they were ready to face it together. The next morning on the space station, everything looked calm on the outside, but Leo felt nervous inside. After what had happened with the machine and Nira, he couldn't stop thinking about her. He wanted to help fix the mistake he made, but he also didn't want to make her feel worse. He got up early, walked down the main hallway, and past the food station. A few 3VN workers stood near the fruit counter. They stopped talking when they saw him. Some of them smiled quietly. One even gave a small laugh. Leo pretended not to notice and kept walking. He arrived at the garden dome, where the Thurevians took care of their special plants. The air was fresh and warm there, filled with sweet smells. Giant vines curled up the walls and soft light glowed. From the glass roof, Leo stepped inside and saw Hernera standing near a small tree with blue fruits. She was watering the roots slowly, her hands moving gently. She wore the same long cloak from the day before, still hiding her figure. When she noticed him, her body froze. Glowing green skin suddenly turned soft pink, starting from her cheeks. And spreading down her neck, Leo stopped a few steps away. "Hi," he said quietly. Nira gave a tiny nod. "Hi." There was silence for a moment. Then Leo tried again. "I just wanted to say, thanks for not getting mad. I still feel bad about the accident." "I didn't blame you," she said. "But I do feel strange." Leo lowered his voice. "Is it because of the booster effect?" Nira turned bright pink now and looked down at the ground. She held her watering can tighter and didn't speak for a while. Finally, she whispered, "Yes." Leo scratched his head, not sure what to say next. "I swear I didn't know that machine did that. I thought it was some kind of light generator. Or scanner." "I would never try to, I know," she interrupted softly. "You were just fixing things. It's not your fault." More silence passed between them. Birds chirped in the garden trees. A flower opened its petals near Leo's feet. Then Nira said, "It's just, where I come from, this kind of thing is very private." Leo nodded slowly. "Yeah, I figured people are whispering. I'm guessing they know." She gave a small sigh. "Everyone knows." The light from the machine was recorded on the station's camera. We shared to the science team for review. Someone told someone else. Now it's not a secret anymore. Leo felt terrible. He had tried to be helpful, but instead, he had made her the center of attention. "I didn't want to embarrass you," he said quietly. "I believe you," Nira said. "But still, this body change is not normal for me. It makes me feel awkward. I don't like how others stare." Leo looked at her cloak, still covering her completely. He understood now. "I want to help," he said again. "Is there any way to reverse it?" Nira hesitated. "There might be, but I don't know the correct settings on the machine. It was old and hasn't been used in years. We would need someone who understands Thurevian biology and machine design." "Well," Leo smiled gently. "I don't understand your biology, but I'm pretty good with machines. And I'd like to try only if you're okay with it." She finally looked at him, her eyes soft and uncertain. "You're different, Leo." He blinked. "Different how? You care? Most humans I've met here don't talk to me unless they need something. You actually listen. You're gentle. Leo blushed a little himself now. Thanks. I try. Nira gave a tiny smile, the first real smile he had seen from her since the accident. Her pink glow faded a bit as she relaxed. I guess she said, "We can go look at the machine again." Together. Later that day, they both returned to the alien lab. The silver and crystal machine stood quietly in the middle of the room, just as before. This time, Leo didn't go near it without asking. "Okay," he said, looking at the controls. Which part of it actually does the boosting? Nira pointed to a small blue crystal on the side. That's the enhancer. When it gets activated, it sends a growth signal to anything organic nearby. My body reacted because I'm a plant-based life form. The signal thought my outer fruits needed growth support. Leo looked closer. Why was it even turned on? Nira sighed. It was left. In testing mode, shouldn't have responded to you, but maybe your human energy patterns triggered it. Sometimes machines are sensitive. Leo opened the control panel and began working. If I can reset the settings, maybe it won't activate by accident again. Also, maybe there's a way to reverse the growth if it's too much. Do that? Nira asked softly. Of course, Leo said. You helped me with plant sensors last week, remember? We're a team, aren't we? Her smile returned this time bigger. Yes, a team. They worked together in the lab. The awkwardness slowly faded. Nira even laughed once when Leo dropped a tool and chased it under a table. Her glowing skin warmed to a soft peach color, which Leo guessed meant she was feeling happy by the end of the day. They had fixed the machine's safety system and added a warning message that would stop it from turning on without permission. I think that's enough for today, Leo said, stretching his arms. Nira nodded. Thank you for helping me, really. Leo smiled. Anytime. As they walked out of the lab together, a few alien workers passed by. One of them smiled at Nira and nodded respectfully. She looked surprised. Leo leaned over and whispered, Maybe. They're starting to see the real you. Not just what changed. Nira looked down for a moment, then up again. Maybe, she said, and her cheeks glowed pink once more, but this time she didn't look away. Leo sat on the floor of his small cabin, wires and crystal tools scattered around him. He had been thinking about Nira all day. After their talk in the lab, he felt more hopeful. She didn't hate him. In fact, she had smiled. That gave him courage. But he still felt guilty. He'd embarrassed her in front of her people. Even if she forgave him, he wanted to do more, something that showed he really cared. Not just words, but action. I'll fix this properly, Leo whispered to himself. He stood up and grabbed his toolkit. He had made a copy of the old machine's schematics from the lab. Now, he would study it fully and build a safety tool that would block the strange growth signal if it ever activated again. The next day, Leo returned to the lab. Nira was already there, sitting near the silver flower-shaped device. She looked calm and peaceful, her leaf-like hair falling gently over her shoulders. When she saw him, she smiled. You came back. I brought something, Leo said, placing a small device on the table. It's a signal blocker. I made it last night. If this thing ever turns on by accident again, this blocker will stop it before it does anything. Nira looked surprised. She picked up the small silver cube and turned it in her hands. You built this for me, she asked. I built it for you. And for everyone, Leo replied. No one should feel embarrassed again because of this machine, especially not someone as kind as you. Nira's cheeks turned pink. Thank you, Leo. You didn't have to, but I'm glad you did. They worked together that morning, opening the side panels of the flower machine and placing the signal blocker inside. Leo carefully connected the power wires while Nira held. The tools their hands brushed once, and both paused for a moment. Nira looked away quickly, but Leo noticed her soft smile. After finishing the job, they sat on the floor to rest. Nira reached into her bag and pulled out a small green fruit. Would you like to try a Threvian snack? She asked. Leo hesitated. Will it make my nose grow or something? Nira laughed, a soft musical laugh that made Leo smile too. No, silly. It's safe. We eat this during harvest celebrations. It helps calm the mind. Leo took a bite. It tasted like honey and mint. That's really good, he said. Nia nodded. Mother used to give me this fruit when I felt nervous. I thought maybe it would help you too. Leo felt touched. That's really sweet of you. They sat quietly, eating and watching the soft lights of the garden shimmer through the lab window. Later that week, the space station received a message from the Science Council. A special interspecies science showcase would be held in 2 days. Scientists from different worlds would come to visit, learn, and share their inventions. The Threvian team was asked to present their growth machine as part of the show. Nira looked at Leo with worry in her eyes. We can't show this machine to outsiders, she whispered. What if it activates again? What if someone laughs at me? Leo placed a hand on the machine. We added the blocker. It won't misfire. And besides, I'll be with you. You won't be alone. She looked unsure, but I don't like being stared at. They'll all look at me and remember what happened. And let them look, Leo said softly. I'll see a brilliant, brave scientist who turned an accident into a learning moment. Not a mistake, but a solution. Nira looked at him for a long time. Her glow softened. Okay, she said finally. I trust you. On the day of the science showcase, the station was filled with visitors. Tall aliens with glass-like skin, short ones with floating eyes, and others Leo had never seen before. They walked through the wide halls, visiting booths, taking notes, and asking questions. Leo and Nira stood together at their small booth. The silver flower machine stood on a raised table shining under soft lights. A sign above it read, Threvian Growth Technology. With new safety enhancements, Nira stood straight, wearing a soft white robe with green leaf patterns. She looked elegant, though a little nervous. You look great, Leo said with a warm smile. Thank you, she said, blushing gently. I feel ready. One by one, alien scientists came to see the machine. They asked questions about how it worked, what it was used for, and how the signal blocker functioned. Leo answered the technical questions. Nira explained the biological effects. They worked perfectly as a team. Suddenly, a loud beep came from the control panel. Oh no, Nira whispered. Someone touched the wrong setting. A soft hum came from the machine. Lights blinked. For a moment, Leo's heart stopped. But then, nothing happened. The signal blocker had worked. Nira let out a deep breath and looked at Leo. He grinned and gave her a thumbs dash up. The alien crowd clapped gently in approval. One of them, a tall, yellow-skinned woman, nodded. This is a fine improvement, she said. Shows care and responsibility. Nira blushed again, but this time she looked proud. After the event, Leo and Nira walked back to the garden dome. The sun lamps above were dimming to evening mode. I was so scared, Nira said softly. But you did great, Leo said. Explained everything clearly, and you stayed calm. You were amazing. She smiled and looked at him. You think? People will forget the accident now. Leo shook his head. No, but I think they'll remember something better. That you faced your fear and shared knowledge with others. It's braver than hiding. Nira looked down, her cheeks warm again. I've never met a human like you, Leo. He looked back at her. I've never met anyone like you either. They sat down on a stone bench beneath a glowing fruit tree. The silence between them wasn't awkward. Now it was peaceful. Nira placed her hand gently on his. Leo looked at her, surprised. She smiled and whispered, Thank you for everything. 2 days after the science showcase, the space station was still buzzing with excitement. News of the Threvian growth machine and the signal blocker had spread to nearby research colonies. People from different worlds wanted to know more. Leo and Nira had become known as a clever human-alien team. Everywhere they went, others greeted them with smiles and friendly questions. But Nira still wore her long cloak and avoided large groups. She felt proud, yes, but also a little shy one morning. As Leo checked the machine again in the lab, a message arrived on the station's screen. Interplanetary Science Fair, hosted at Central Hall. You're invited to present your invention. Leo read it aloud. Nira, who was organizing fruit samples, looked up quickly. "Another presentation?" she said, sounding nervous. "Yes," Leo said, holding the screen. "This is the big one. Scientists from 10 systems will attend. Even the Human Research Council will be watching." Nira's face showed worry. More eyes, more questions, more staring. Leo walked over and placed a hand on the table gently. "Hey, we'll only go if you want to. No pressure." Nira looked at the silver flower machine standing in the middle of the room. It looked calm now, like a sleeping giant. "I want to go," she said quietly. "I want to prove that I'm not just the girl who had a sudden growth problem. Want to show that I'm a real scientist too?" Leo smiled. "Then let's do it." Over the next 2 days, Leo and Nira worked hard. They added more safety settings to the machine. They created a new panel with lights that would warn users before any signal could activate. They also prepared a short speech to explain how the accident had led to a better design. But the night before the fair, Nira sat alone in the garden dome. She stared at the stars through the glass ceiling. Leo walked in quietly and sat beside. Her couldn't sleep? She shook her head. "I keep thinking, what if something goes wrong again? What if I blush too much? What if someone laughs?" Leo thought for a moment. Then he picked up a small blossom from the ground, a soft pink one, and placed it gently in her hand. "This flower glows when touched," he said, "just like you." But no one laughs at the flower. They admire it. Nira looked at the blossom, then at him. Her cheeks turned the same soft pink. "You always say the right thing," she whispered. "I don't know if it's the right thing," Leo said, "but it's how I feel." The next day, the central hall was full of light, sound, and colors. Large tables were set up across the room, each one with a different invention. Flying drones, energy shields, voice-translating hats, and floating gardens filled the room. Leo and Nira stood at their table, the silver flower machine standing tall behind them. A clear sign read, "Threvian growth technology now, safer than ever by Nira Threvian and Leo Human." Nira wore a green dress decorated with small leaves. It was the first time she didn't wear her long cloak. Her fruit organs still looked larger than before, but she stood with confidence. Her soft glow made her stand out in a beautiful way. "You look amazing," Leo said honestly. She smiled. "Thank you again." As visitors arrived, Nira and Leo took turns answering questions. Most guests were kind and curious, but not everyone, eh? Tall, pale alien scientist from a cold planet walked over and stared at Nira. "Is this the girl from the video?" he asked in a loud voice. Nira froze. Leo stepped forward quickly. "She's the scientist who improved this machine and made it safer for everyone." The alien shrugged. Still, it was a strange mistake. Enlarging organs like that. Very embarrassing. Few nearby guests looked over. Nira's cheeks glowed. Leo could see she was holding back her feelings. Leo turned to the crowd and said, "Every great invention starts with a mistake. What matters is how you learn from it." Nira didn't hide. She worked harder. She turned an accident into something helpful. That's what true science looks like. People clapped softly. The rude alien blinked, then walked away without another. Word.Nira looked at Leo. "You didn't have to do that." "Yes, I did," Leo said. "Because it's the truth." But just as things started to calm down, a small child from the crowd touched the machine out of curiosity. "Please don't touch that," Leo said, rushing forward, but it was too late. Beep, beep. The silver flower machine came to life. A soft golden light started spinning at the top. "Not again," Nira whispered, panicking. The crowd stepped back. Leo quickly opened the side panel and pulled the emergency switch. Click. The machine stopped. The golden light vanished. Everyone held their breath. Then nothing happened. No signal, no growth. No glowing waves. The signal blocker had worked again. Leo stood up, his hands shaking a little. "It's safe." It didn't activate fully. Nira let out a long breath of relief. Then the crowd clapped louder than before. Someone even cheered. An older Threvian scientist walked over to Nira and smiled. "Your work is strong, young one. Mistakes happen, but what you've built after it is even more important." Nira smiled, her glow soft and warm. Leo looked at her, proud, "Told you, you're a real scientist." After the fair, as they packed up their things, Nira turned to Leo. "Today, I didn't feel afraid," she said. "Even when something went wrong." "'Cause you were ready," Leo said, "and you believed in yourself." Nira reached out and gently touched Leo's arm, "But also because you were by my side." Leo smiled. "Always." As they walked down the hallway together, shoulder to shoulder, Nira's soft pink glow lit the way. It wasn't embarrassment anymore. It was happiness. The science fair was over. Visitors had left, and the space station slowly returned to its quiet routine. But something had changed for Leo and Nira. They were not just co-workers anymore. They were something more. People on the station now looked at Nira with new respect. Some even asked her questions about Threvian technology. Leo noticed she walked taller now, with more confidence in her steps. Her cloak stayed off most of the time, and her smile came more easily. Still, she was careful around strangers. She spoke softly and stayed close to the garden dome or the science lab. But with Leo, she was open-comfortable. One afternoon, they sat together in the garden dome near the tall vines. The sun lamps above gave the place a soft golden light. Birds chirped from the small trees, and the air smelled like mint and blossoms. Leo held a tablet in his lap, reading about alien engineering. Nira sat beside him, cutting small blue fruits into thin slices for testing. "I've been thinking," Leo said suddenly. "About what?" Nira asked. "About your world," he said. "You told me your people live in giant forest cities. Never seen anything like that. It must be beautiful." Nira smiled softly. "It is. Our homes are built around ancient trees. We don't cut them. We grow with them." Leo looked curious. "You ever miss it?" "All the time," she said. "Especially the night sky. On my world, the stars shine through soft green leaves. There's a song the wind sings there. I haven't heard it in a long time." Leo nodded. "Maybe one day I'll visit." Nira blinked.
You would.
"Of course," Leo said. "If you'll be my guide." She gave a small laugh. "I've never guided a human before." "Well, I've never followed a Threvian either," Leo said with a grin. Suddenly, Leo leaned back too far on the bench and slipped off the edge. He landed flat on his back with a loud oof. Nira gasped. "Leo, are you hurt?" Leo groaned. "Only my pride." He sat up slowly, brushing leaves from his hair. But when he looked at Nira, she was covering her mouth. She was laughing, really laughing. It was the first time he had ever heard her laugh that hard. Her pink glow shimmered like morning sunlight, and her eyes sparkled with joy. "I'm sorry," she said between giggles. "But the way you fell like a surprised squirrel." Leo laughed too. "Well, I'm glad my pain brings you happiness." "It's not pain," she said, still smiling. "It's just funny. I haven't laughed like this in years." Leo looked at her with wonder. Then it was worth falling. They both sat there, the garden alive with gentle sounds, their laughter blending with the breeze. Later that day, they walked through the science corridor together. Nira carried a small plant sample, and Leo held a toolkit. As they passed the open windows, soft starlight shone through. "Can I ask you something personal?" Leo said. Nira nodded. "Of course. Back when the accident happened, when the machine changed your body, did you think I would laugh at you?" Nira walked slowly, thinking. "I wasn't sure. I've met some humans before who made fun of things they didn't understand. I was afraid you'd see me as strange." "I never thought that," Leo said. "Not even for a second. I thought you looked—" he paused, a little shy. "I thought you looked beautiful. But I didn't want to make you uncomfortable." Nira blushed gently. "You're different, Leo. You don't look at me the way others do." Leo smiled. "Maybe that's because I don't see you as just an alien. I see you as Nira." They stopped walking. The hallway was quiet. Nira looked at him, her eyes soft and glowing. "Sometimes I forget we're from different worlds." "Me too," Leo said. Later that evening, they returned to the garden dome again. It had become their favorite place. Nira brought a round fruit that glowed gently in the dark. This is a dream fruit, she explained. We eat it during peace ceremonies. It helps the heart feel calm. Leo took a slice. Tastes like pear and vanilla. Nira smiled. On my world, we share this fruit with someone we trust. Leo looked at her. So, you trust me now? I always did, she said. But now I trust you with more than just machines. Trust you with me. Leo's heart beat a little faster. He didn't know what to say, but he didn't need to. Their silence said enough. They sat together, side by side, watching the plants sway gently. The stars outside blinked quietly in the sky. Then Nira leaned her head gently on Leo's shoulder. He didn't move. He just smiled. The next morning, they worked together on a new project. Nira had an idea for a machine that could help other plant-based species grow better in space. Leo loved the idea. They sketched plans, built small models, and laughed when things went wrong. You put the crystal in upside down again? Nira teased. Leo sighed. Why do they all look the same? Nira giggled. 'Cause you're human. You're too smart, Leo said with a grin. Their teamwork grew stronger each day. They were more than just lab partners now. They were friends, maybe something more, but they didn't rush anything. It was enough just to be near each other, learning and laughing. One day, Nira brought a drawing she made. It showed a tall Threvian tree with two figures sitting under it, one human and one Threvian. That's us, she said. Someday I want to sit with you under my world's sky. Leo looked at the picture and smiled. Then someday I will. One calm evening, Nira invited Leo to visit a special place, a part of the station that very few humans had ever seen. It was called the Healing Garden, a peaceful sanctuary where Threvian plant people went to rest, think, and find strength. Leo followed her through narrow hallways filled with glowing plants and soft humming sounds. The air smelled sweet and fresh, like the forest on Nira's homeworld. Finally, they arrived at a large dome covered in thick green vines. Inside, tall trees with shimmering leaves stretched toward the glass roof. Soft light danced on the smooth stones beneath their feet. Nira smiled softly. This is where we come to heal, to grow, and to feel safe. Leo looked around in wonder. It's beautiful. Like a forest in space, she nodded. Yes, and it's very important to my people. They walked slowly down a stone path. Nira stopped beside a small tree with round, glowing fruits hanging. From its branches, these are coconut blossoms, she said quietly. They are part of our bodies. The fruits that grow on our chest. They are symbols of strength and beauty. Leo looked closely. The fruits were soft green and pulsed gently with light. In my world, Nira continued, these blossoms show courage. When a Threvian grows them fully, it means they are strong enough to face challenges. Leo reached out and touched one of the glowing fruits. It felt warm and alive. Do you feel stronger here? He asked. Nira smiled. Yes, and being here helps me accept who I am. She looked at Leo with bright eyes. After what happened, I was so embarrassed. But now I see these blossoms as part of me, not something to hide. Leo took her hand gently. I'm glad you feel that way, 'cause to me, you've always been brave and beautiful. Nira's cheeks glowed a soft pink. As she looked down, thank you. They sat on a nearby bench under the tall trees. The air was calm, and soft music seemed to float from the leaves. Leo asked, Have you been here often? Not since the accident, Nira said. I was afraid to show myself fully, but you helped me see it's okay. Leo smiled. Sometimes it takes a friend to remind us of our strength. They talked quietly about Nira's childhood, her family, and the traditions of the Threvians. Leo shared stories of Earth's forests, oceans, and stars. As the time passed, the space outside darkened. Stars appeared like tiny diamonds in the sky. Nira looked up. One day, I want to show you my home world. The healing gardens there are even more beautiful. I'd like that, Leo said warmly. And maybe I can bring a few earth plants for you to try. She laughed softly. I would like that very much. And as the evening grew late, Leo stood up. I should go, he said. But I'm glad you invited me. Nira stood too and held out her hand. Thank you for coming. It means more than you know. Leo took her hand gently. Can I see you again tomorrow? Nira nodded. I'd like that. As Leo left the healing garden, he looked back one last time. The soft glow of the coconut blossoms seemed brighter, now like a promise. The next days passed in a blur of work and quiet moments. Leo and Nira spent more time together, learning from each other. One afternoon, Nira showed Leo how to tend the special fruit plants. She taught him how to listen to their soft signals, the subtle changes that told a plant when it needed water, light, or rest. Leo was amazed at her care and patience. You have a special gift, he said. Not many people can understand plants like you do. Nira smiled. It comes from my people's connection with nature. We don't see plants as separate from us. We are part of the same life. Leo looked thoughtful. That's why your species is so different and special. Nira blushed softly. One evening, while working on a new design for the growth machine, Leo accidentally spilled a small amount of glowing liquid on his hand. Ouch, he said, pulling back quickly. Nira looked worried. Are you okay? Leo laughed. It just stings a little. She quickly grabbed a soft leaf and pressed it gently on his hand. The sting faded. That leaf is a natural healer, Nira explained. It can stop pain and help wounds close faster. Leo smiled gratefully. You're full of surprises. They looked at each other and laughed softly. As the days went by, their friendship grew stronger. They shared stories, hopes, and dreams. One evening, Leo surprised Nira with a small gift, a tiny potted plant from Earth, a bright green fern. For your healing garden, he said. Nira's eyes sparkled. Thank you, Leo. It will grow well here. She reached out and touched his hand lightly. Do you know, she whispered, I never thought I could feel this happy again. Leo squeezed her hand gently. Neither did I, but sometimes accidents bring the best things. They sat together under the glowing trees, their hearts full of hope. The space station was quiet in the early morning light. Leo stood by the window, watching the stars fade as the sun rose over the distant planets. His mind was full of thoughts about the journey he and Nira had shared. The accident with the growth machine had changed everything. At first, it was a mistake that caused embarrassment and confusion. But it became the start of a deep friendship and something more. Leo smiled softly as he remembered Nira's soft pink glow and her shy smile. Later that day, Leo met Nira in the healing garden, their favorite place on the station, the glowing. Fruits on the trees gave the air a gentle light. Soft sound of leaves in the wind made the garden feel peaceful. Nira was waiting for him by the bench. She looked radiant, her cheeks glowing warmly, but this time it was with happiness, not embarrassment. Good morning, Leo, she said, her voice calm and sweet. Good morning, Nira, he replied. Sitting down beside her, they sat quietly for a moment, enjoying the calm. Then Leo spoke softly. I've been thinking about the future. Nira looked curious. What about it? I want to keep working with you. Not just on machines, but on new ideas. I think together we can create something that helps many people. Nira smiled. I want that too. You help me find courage. I want to help others see that too. Leo reached out and gently took her hand. You've already helped me. She looked down at their hands, then back at him. Leo, I'm glad we met. You turned a mistake into something beautiful. Leo's heart beat faster. Nira, I care about you, more than just a friend. Nira's glow deepened, and she smiled shyly. I care about you too. Over the next few weeks, their friendship grew into something special. They worked side by side, sharing dreams and laughter. One afternoon, Niro invited Leo to a small celebration in the station's garden dome. A few close friends gathered to honor their success and new partnership. Niro stood before the group, her glowing fruits shining softly. This journey began with a mistake, she said. But because of Leo's kindness and help, I learned to accept myself and grow stronger. The others smiled and clapped. Leo stood beside her. Sometimes accidents lead to new beginnings, new friendships. I'm proud to know Nira. The stars came out that night, Leo and Nira walked hand in hand through the garden dome. Nira looked up at the glowing fruits on the trees. I never thought I would be proud of my coconut blossoms, she said with a laugh. Leo smiled. Sometimes, the things we hide become our greatest strength. Nira leaned her head on his shoulder. Thank you for helping me find that. Leo kissed her forehead gently. Thank you for trusting me. Together they looked at the stars outside the dome, ready for the new adventures ahead. End of story.